Hi everybody, welcome back to the Heather's channel. It's Ashley. I'm glad to have you back. It is the beginning of the year. This is my kind of like reflective video on my life, my health, mentally, emotionally, physically, and just to like check in, talk about where I was and where I want to be in 2019. Not to be confused with the video that Neff and I have coming soon, where we're kind of gonna make like our wish list for the year, or in other words, our, I guess, verbal vision boards. I guess we could call it that. Not to be confused, but this is just, you know, some personal shit with just myself and how I've felt. If you are familiar with the channel and you've been riding, I made a video last year called Cheat Codes Unblocking Blessings, and it was, you know, I had new year, new hair, who this, and that's basically, I want to kind of like follow in that mold of, it's a new year, I have new hair, who's this. So it's another year where I shed a couple of pounds of negativity and shit that just wasn't working for me. And to give a really quick recap, 2018 was a phenomenal year for about 3/4 of it. I went on the trip of my dreams. It was to Greece. I will have that card flash up on the screen in case you haven't seen any of it. I had a phenomenal time there. I did well financially and then didn't do well financially. So it wasn't as I didn't flourish as much as I did in 2017, where I was going on multiple trips and making all this kind of money and just wasting it and da-da-da. But it allowed me some time to humble myself. Towards the end of the year, huge clouds of negative energy were just swarming around me and just storming all over my life, so to speak. And I found myself heavily submerged in a fucking pool of depression, to go along with, you know, not having a client for the season, because if you don't know, I am a personal chef. But yeah, not having a client for the season and just having my part-time job that just gets me through. I wasn't seeing the kind of money I wanted to see. I was supposed to take a trip to Paris. That whole deal fell through because the people I was going with, we fell out for that time. Like, the airline went out of business that we were flying. Like, it was just it was a disaster. It was clear that it wasn't supposed to happen. Just a lot of things that were not going right pulled me into a place that I don't frequent very often. No matter how down I may get, even if I deal with any bout of depression, I don't stay in it for too long, because I have the strength within myself to pull me out of these situations typically. This time, not so easy. This time, I was in it. And I was in it for months. I was trying to find out the source of it and what it was coming from, because all of these surface reasons were adding to it, but it wasn't the problem. And I realized that it was stemming from the fact that I had not come face to face with my divorce. That I haven't stood in the face of my divorce and really barged my way through it. And not so much the divorce itself, but the problems that, or the lingering problems I've had since my divorce has been final. For those of you who don't know, I was married. I have been divorced coming up on 3 years. I've been separated for 3 years. And it's something I have not shared much with the public, except people who know me. I don't really like to deal with it, because I feel like I'm tougher than it and I'm bigger than it. And it was kind of one of those situations that it's just like, you know what, because it's not even about him and it's not even about the divorce. It's about shit that I didn't deal with inside of me because of the person I became because of the divorce. Long story. I think I should have a dedicated video to talking about that, and I will when I feel a little bit more comfortable with it. Not to say that I'm uncomfortable, it's just, I can't explain my reservation behind not really wanting to get into it yet. Because I know things I felt, people have felt, and I would love for that video to be a place where we talk each other off ledges and we exchange war stories, and we exchange stories on how we got over it and got through it. And if it could be a video that could help someone get through it and decide to stand up one day and say, I'm not doing this anymore and I have to go, I would love to be a part of that too. But just, you know, let me get my shit together, because I'm just coming around to finding out the truth of why I was so depressed. In searching for what was going to make me better, I'm very driven to find out what is the core of it, so I can get over this and get out of it. I don't like being in it. So when I'm in it, even though it cripples you, now doing all this thinking and having all these chats and just talking through things and just crying for no reason and sleeping for hours and feeling like a miserable human, I was having a conversation with my mother one day, and I was just telling her how stuck in a hole, how deeply stuck in a hole I am, and telling her all these reasons I think, and then saying that something's wrong with me though, and I feel like it has to do with the divorce, and I don't know why, because I don't miss this person, I don't miss being married to them, but something has me like by my neck regarding it. And then I just went on, and I was like, you know, she was like, but why do you feel this way? And I was just saying, like, you don't understand, like, what I did to myself and I was embarrassed by who I was, and all these things I kept saying that were really only about me and how I looked to myself and the standard by which I hold myself to, and how I regard who I am on this earth. Basically, she just said, in the midst of me just ranting about, and I'm better than that, and I should have known it, and I saw this coming and I still went with it, and da-da-da-da-da. She just said, okay, I hear you and I understand and I get it, and we know that you're this and we know that you're that, but when are you going to forgive yourself? When are you going to forgive yourself? And it was almost instantaneous in that moment when she said, when are you going to forgive yourself, that it clicked to me. And that's what it is. I was still being hard on myself about all the things I should have done and should not have done in that marriage regarding myself, not him, not anything else, not family, not me. How I handled myself, I was still coming down on myself. I was still beating myself up about it. And I, you know, whether I said it out loud, a thought still permeates throughout your body and it affects you regardless. A feeling does the same. Even if it's on my mind or not on my mind, it's something I think or have thought, therefore it permeates throughout me. And it will affect my body and my mind unbeknownst to myself. We did a forgiveness meditation. It was extremely helpful. I did a couple of meditations over the next couple of days of that week, and I woke up and I had forgiven myself. As easy as that. I was buried for months, and that simple, no, because I was buried for years. It had formed into something over the last few months of 2018 that was unbearable for me. Well, I decided this is not what I wanted life to be for me, and I was going to forgive myself, and I forgave myself, and I did not feel that way anymore. And for those who can't relate, depression affects everyone differently, but for a lot of people it really feels like you are walking around with weighted leaded clothes or weighted armor, and it's heavy and it's hard, and you're dragging, and you are so far from being the person who you are, and it's just like you want to get to her or him and you can't, because it's just the weight, it's intense, and it just makes you want to fall apart and break and cry, and there's nothing you can do, because it's like how but when you stop fucking worrying about how, and you figure out what is gonna help me get out of this. How can I do this? No. What do I need to do? I need to figure this out. I need to talk it through with yourself, with someone you confide in. Talk it through. Get to the root. handle and deal with and confront the root. And then from there, I just started thinking about making better choices in my life. And this was coming into 2019. These are not things that I thought since the new year. So I started posting some better choices for myself and for other people who are experiencing similar situations on Snapchat. And I will read a couple that I had posted. Every single one that I posted received a lot of feedback from people who hit me and said that this really hit home today. I really needed this, etc., etc. And that, it feels so good, because when you're going through something and someone can relate, or you're helping someone and you guys are helping each other at the same time, that is fucking gold, and it's beauty. The very first one, when I stepped up out of my hole, something that I picked up from the good man himself, Vishen. If you are into meditation, you know who he is. If you are not, get into him, because I love him. He's phenomenal. My better choice for this day was to remove negative charges. A negative charge is any negative feeling you may have towards a person or an incident. That was my very first one. It's in that you no longer carry hardening and hatred inside of you. When you just remove the negative charge, you don't have to do anything other than say, I forgive you, because that's forgiveness comes after that. I forgive you, I forgive me. I don't hold any grudges, I don't hold no contempt towards you. Do your thing, I'll do my thing. If you can remain in the same universe, in each other's lives, then cool. If you can't, then cool. My next one was forgiveness. Forgive yourself first. Then practice forgiveness with any one thing you may have had a negative charge with, whether in communication or not. Free yourself of that burden. In turn, this will help you release any pain, guilt, shame, or embarrassment you may be drowning in. And that's kind of like how those things played out. It was remove the negative charge, which is the depression and the self-loathing because of ways I acted and ways I didn't act in my marriage. So then once I knew what it was, I removed it, and I forgave myself for it. In the midst of all of this is being grateful for what you have, even if it's the smallest thing. And I'm just going to share one more. I'm not going to go through a whole bunch, but another really, really important one to me is accountability for others as well as yourself. Hold people accountable for their words and their actions. Teach them how to be less irresponsible with what they say. If you don't mean it, don't say it, and don't act out just to draw a person's attention. And these are things that I wanted to share with people, and they have been helping. I'm not just saying shit that I want people to do because I'm already there. No, no, no. I'm getting there, and I'm trying to share my knowledge as I go, so we can, whoever may be in need of it, we can be going through the shit together. If you want to talk about anything further from what I just read, do so in the comments. We can have a chit chat. And if it's really intense and you want to have some real combo, you can email me. That is in the description down below, and we can talk each other through our shit. I have no problem doing that. Whoever's with it, I'm with it. And while I'm not 100% on the other side of that, I am drastically far away from where I was, knowing what the problem was. And every time I sink in it, I have to remember, hey, remember, you've forgiven yourself for it. And I have to get right back into it. You're absolutely right. I don't even know what I was tripping about. And knowing all that, when I came into the new year, these are the standards: gratefulness, forgiveness, accountability, and removing any negative charges in your life. These are pillars that I am trying to stand on to be on my path to becoming a better human. There are so many things that are secretly going on inside of a person sometimes that they have not addressed, and then it'll be the very smallest thing that happens in your life, unrelated in most cases to the issue, but that will trigger such a profound mood shift, whether that is a depression, and then a depression turns into a sickness, because that's kind of what happened to me. My depression manifested itself into sicknesses for me, where my body was just being sick. Not even like a cold, and it's hard to explain, just like where your insides just don't feel right and you are just full with toxicity. And every time I was going out, I could have one drink and I'd be hungover like I was drinking all night. And it was just, I was sick, and my body my body was just responding to all of it in the worst way. And in this year, I'm going to do what I like to call a reset. Get back into a healthy lifestyle. Ever since Greece, I've just been kicking the can, doing what the hell I want to do, eat what I want to do, how I want to eat, then not working out, not doing anything that has remotely to do with the promotion of health in my life, period. And I need to get back on that, not even on some New Year's resolution, but that's because that's how I live. I am going to be gearing up for a water fast just so I can detox my body, and that's what I was saying about the reset. I'm going to detox my body and then just start from scratch. The water fast, I am going to be starting on January 21st, and I'm going to do it for 10 days. So I will only be drinking water and occasionally some tea, and that will be that. And I will be slowly but surely becoming the biggest bitch on the face of the earth. Ah, Lord. I've done many a fast in my life, but a water fast have I not. Because you don't really get any nutrients. You can live, but you're not putting nutrients from fruit and vegetable in your body. Therefore, it's a harder struggle. But I feel like that's what I need after all of that garbage I've been stewing in. I need to purge my body of it all. And that's the last release of the bullshit. I'm thinking about documenting it just to see how I handle it. It's a thought. And going into it, I'm pretty much intermittently fasting between 8 p.m. and 12 p.m. So I don't eat before 12 and I don't eat after 8. The things that I do eat is just clean eating, and I'm going to slowly phase out with over the next couple of, what is it? I have 11 days to start. So over the next 11 days, I will be phasing food out progressively so that it's not such a shock to my body and I don't get intensely sick from doing it. And can somebody please be my sponsor and make sure I get my shit together and keep it together? I need people to be asking me, how's it going? You can hit me on Snapchat and make sure that I'm doing my thing. Remember, start date is January 21st. Make sure that I am on my shit doing what I need to, because like I said, I need to purge my body of the sin that I've been living in. Okay? Speaking of taking care of your body, starting with the inside, I am also, along with my mom, we are creating a program called Beauty from the Inside Out. It is going to be a mindful approach to self-care that promotes weight loss, health, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. So basically the stuff that I've been talking about, you know, with meditation, the right nutrition, mindful healing. As cliche as it sounds, your health and your beauty starts from your inside, and you are toxic and sick on the inside. It will radiate toxic and sickness. The makeup should enhance you. It should be a Scottie Pippen, not the Michael Jordan of who you are. I will be able to give you a little bit more information about that once we have all of our ducks in a row, but I will probably have a dedicated video explaining all of the ins and outs of it. And if you would like to join up when we get in full swing, there will be a survey that we'll be releasing whenever I put out the dedicated video, and basically trying to get to know what are some things that you guys are struggling with, some things you want to know more about. That will be coming in the very near future. It will be a fun experience, and like I've been saying, a great way to go down these roads and take these journeys with people suffering what you're suffering through, feeling how you're feeling, living how you're living. And so you know that this shit is not only you, and you don't have to do this alone. But everything can't be all bad. Let's also talk about some of the highlights of 2018. I fucking killed it this year with wig reviews. I think I pulled up like I haven't. I was the most I've been consistent since I started it. I got a lot of notoriety from it, as well as sponsorship. I am very proud of myself for that, but don't get it twisted. With the sponsorship always comes the truth, because I can't be anything but real. If you watch me, you know that. We surpassed 10K, which was, we didn't make a big deal about it on the channel, but that was huge for us, and we were just so excited. I stayed fuckboy free and sucker free. That's always a great thing. Just stay sucker free and fuckboy free and just sip tea. I am so happy I got the opportunity to sit down and talk to you because I love this video. Anybody who has any comments or questions, please put them down below. If you want to chat further and you want to chat in depth, email me, Snapchat me. I am always here to talk about any of the type of shit that I was talking about with anyone to help you get through anything you need to, because we don't need to be stuck in those positions. We need to be heard. Sometimes you try the best ways you know how to voice what you're feeling and people aren't hearing you correctly. But I know and I'm listening. So if you want to talk about it, and sometimes the kindness of strangers is always the best, you know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. I love you all. Be cool like how you be cool.